Anyway, welcome everybody. Oliver, could you tell us a little bit about yourself? Because not everybody knows your story.
In the business 20 years, 22 years actually, 4.5 as manager. Incredibly honored, proud to be working with amazing people. It's an amazing leader, great leader to have running here. I mean, you guys all know me as this fellow who likes to wear these hats, and I like to tell really bad dad jokes. And I say things like let's carpe the hell of this DM, seize the day, things like that. Build a profile on social media. I have somewhat, and it's built to a sense like I know stuff about real estate. I know a few things about real estate, but one thing I do know, I absolutely love networking.
Great, thank you, Krystle.
I've been in the business 15 years. I started actually when I was 18 working on the inside for my mom, and then I got my license 15 years ago, and I've been doing it ever since. I learned my networking from my mom, Paula. That's what she does best. She's always done it, and I love it, yeah.
Fantastic. Saad.
Yes.
You have one? Oh, yeah.
So I started in 2017. I built my business over networking, and I built so many meaningful relationships. And it gets me always having fun, moving.
Great.
That's about it.
Great. We're going to start with Krystle. Thanks for being here today, Paula, because we always talk about if you want to learn how to do a referral business, talk to these guys, particularly across the Royal LePage network. That's where we're going to start. Tell us about how you do networking within the network.
I go to as many events as I possibly can, starting with the national conference, a sales conference. I haven't missed one. I've missed one in the last 15 years, and it's because I was pregnant with twins and my water broke and I couldn't go, but I was booked to go, pregnant, ready to go. We also started a small networking group. I think there was about 20 people originally in, and how it all started was somebody posted on the National Sales Conference Facebook page looking for other people that wanted to network within Central Ontario. And we developed this group of 20 people, and it lasted, 10 years?
No, more than that.
Well, the second one with
second
Gia.
one, yes.
And then over COVID, it kind of died down. Like, people didn't want to meet in person anymore. Zoom was kind of like, we did it for the first few months, and then you get sick of Zoom, and
Sure.
It just falls apart. So yeah, I started my own networking group. We had our first meeting last week with the chairman's group as well. So yeah, I just network with other realtors.
And so, tell us about conference. What are things that happen at conference that, not those things, but all the other things for networking?
The events. You have to go to as many events and talk to as many other agents as possible. Use them as your allies. Like the agent, they're not your competition. Even agents in this office, they're not your competition. They're your allies. Call them up, ask for help. Anybody new here that have never been to a conference? Have any of you been to a conference? You've never been? If it's your first time going to a conference, reach out to the people in the networking group there. That's a Royal LePage conference goers Facebook page. Post in there, say, hey, this is my first network conference, and I want to meet other new agents, and ask them if they want to meet in the lobby of the hotel before you go and start this, and start your own little group and meet with these other newbies, because they're just as nervous as you are, and you'll start your own little tribe of your Royal LePage family.
Yeah. So how would you, when you say keep it small, what's a nice size for a networking group?
I would say about 15 to 20 people, and it has to be drivable. So the way I started my chairman's one that we just started last week, I looked and figured out, who do I send the most business to? Like, where are my clients traveling to? We have agents from Niagara Falls all the way up to Muskoka. So can I reach out to those agents that I work with on a regular basis, people that I have the same values and we work very similar, and how can we put our minds together? So I reached out to about 12 of them, and we all decided to to do that, where we're looking to add a couple more as the time goes on, but I don't think you should be more than 20 people. It gets to be too much and too overwhelming.
Right. You know, it's a lot of people don't recognize the referral network as a piece of business.
Huge.
And a way to generate. It's another column in your whole business plan.
I think we're about anywhere between 25 to 35% of our business is agent-to-agent referrals.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah.
I remember, I think there was a certain point where your team was over 30%.
Oh, yeah.
It was
Yeah.
really amazing, and so it's
Yeah.
and when you know when another agent sends you a referral, how's it different than you picking up a client in a different way?
You already have your foot in the door. They have that trust already with that other agent. And most of the agents that I receive referrals from, I personally know because I network with them. I see them a couple times a year. A conference used to be every other year, now it's every year. Like, make a point to go. Like, just use it as an expense. Like, yeah, it's not cheap to go, but one referral pays for that and more, and you build rapport. Yeah.
Thank you. We're going to go sort of back and forth a bit through the chairs. So Saad, can I ask you to weigh in about the power of your professional networking?
So basically, I built my business with networking with professionals at the beginning. So I was dealing with more immigration lawyers, mortgage brokers, contractors. So I would build that relationship with them, and then over the years, I would send them like my clients as clients for them. So they would ask me. I was always their like referral guy. So that helped me a lot. Then over the years, the clients that they sent me over, I started getting business from them. So it kind of snowballed. So that's how I started.
Your professional network, who might they be as far as, so you have an accountant, do you have...
So accountant,
lawyer.
immigration lawyer, contractors, who else? Like real estate lawyers, because they deal with a lot of people.
Sure.
So at the end of the year in the summer, every summer I would do an event.
Great.
The summer appreciation event, and I would invite them over. Some of them, they would put their banners in my event, and they would meet people. So it kind of built that credibility between me and them, and we became like a group.
Absolutely. So are you actively looking to grow that group?
Well, we need to keep growing it because over the years, those people, things happen, they like move or they retire. So we always need to be adding more people to networking.
Great. And so how would you, if in the last few years, how would you categorize the amount of business that you generate through that group?
I would say around 40%.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So far we're at about 70% of a business, and we've only gone through 2 chairs. Yeah. What else do you do? Maybe tell us about that event a little bit.
Okay, so the event is basically every year I would rent a farm, rent bouncy castles, live band, food, like live food stations, and then I would ask all my clients to come in, bring their kids, bring their friends, their neighbors sometimes because the kids play together, and year after year it became bigger and bigger, and it gets harder to plan it and manage it.
Sure.
So that kind of like helped me a lot. So I would like they would try new food. I'd bring a new restaurant for catering. They would try it, ask me about it. So they was always put some interesting stuff in the event that kind of got them to always remember me.
Sure.
Yeah, but
So how many people would you have had approximately this past year in 2024?
It was 150 people.
Wow.
But that's including kids.
Yeah, well, that's great. That's wonderful. Thank you.
But I also go to like MBOT. So I also picked up local businesses from MBOT conferences and meeting.
So that's Mississauga Board of Trade. Yeah. In other communities, it would be called Chamber of Commerce. And so do you go to the regular meetings? Or?
I try it as much as I can, yes.
Yeah, it's a breakfast usually.
Yes.
Yeah, great. So how do you network at those events?
Well, basically they put us in tables, and every time I always sit in a different table, so I get to meet all the local businesses in this round table, and not week after week, but meeting after meeting, I started to recognize the faces and build that kind of connection.
Fantastic. That's a good idea. Oliver, tell us a little bit about, well, I already know part of the story, so why don't you tell us about before and after?
Okay, well, I'm going to give you guys a bit of perspective, okay? So I wasn't this guy, what you see here, okay? You want to see the guy that I was?
He was younger.
You want to see him? All right, that's the guy. This is a guy that puberty was not kind to. I can tell you that, okay? Scared, nerdy, just the mere thought of connecting with people, meeting with people, would send me to my mom's basement in the comfort of my comic books, and while looking lovingly at the poster of Farrah Fawcett I used to have on the wall. And what changed? What changed for me? Something changed because I knew at some point I started to become that guy. Now, I call this guy rebel without a clue. But what I'm saying to you guys is I know how it feels like to sit at the table, sit there and not want to go out. But I learned to absolutely love networking, and and I learned things along the way, kind of moving forward.
So a lot of us have that in us where, you're supposed to go somewhere, and until the last minute where you have to actually leave to go there, you're thinking, do I really want to go? Who has that? Yet, what do? We should go, and we do go, and once we go, we're glad we went, and we usually meet people, and we have a good time, and then we leave. But there's many people who just can't make themselves go. How do you do that? How do you get over that?
It's almost like I go through this. I go through a mindset where I just kind of try to positively will myself. Oh, I don't want to go. I don't want to go. Okay, just go. Just go. Just go. And I'm telling you guys, every time I end up going, 90% of the time, I'm glad I went because I ended up meeting somebody, connecting with somebody or somewhere. I had a conversation with Ursula just this morning, and she was talking about an event. She went yesterday, and it was tough, right? But you're still glad you went. Even though you might have talked with one person, you still did it, And I think that's the real point, is just to get out and just try to will yourself, and it's about mindset. And I think my mindset is I've decided, I've just resigned to I'm not going to have any expectations. I'm just going to go out there and just try to connect, and I'm going to fumble, but I'm going to just try.
Fantastic, thank you. Back to Krystle. I wanted to dig in onto some specifics. So can you tell us about your golf tournament and how that works and what the end result is doing that?
Sure. This past year was, I think, 21st year we've been doing our charity golf tournaments. All proceeds go to the women's shelter in Brampton. We've normally hosted in Brampton at Peel Village. It's about 56 golfers. We reach out to businesses, clients, looking for donations, looking for sponsors. We invite our clients, even other realtors from our office actually play in our tournament. And we raised last year just under $10,000 for the women's shelter, and we've been consistently raising in between $8,000 to $10,000 for the last 10 years.
That's fantastic.
With 56 golfers.
That's it?
That's it.
Wow. So
It's small 9-hole. We do raffles, we do putting contests, we turn it into like a fun game. We do toonie toss, putting contests, 50-50 draws sometimes. We change it up.
Yeah.
But everybody has so much fun, and they always ask when we're going to do it again next year. It's always roughly about the same people. Last year we had a little bit of a different group, but normally it's the same group of people, and they have a blast. We have a massage therapist there also,
Nice.
and she does treatments on everybody. We cover it, and it's like just 10-15 minute treatments, but it just gets them, ready to golf, or when they're done, it's something different, right?
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
And so what's your interaction with shelter?
Well, that's we do a lot for the shelter. We try to do 3 events a year, and every event we do, we give back. So we do Christmas toy drives and Christmas parties for our clients. We do a movie day. We ask everyone to bring in non-perishable food items. We also invite the families at the women's shelter to join us for our movie days. We bus them in. Everything is covered. Actually, my mom is being recognized tomorrow for a really big award for the women's shelter.
Oh, fantastic.
For all of the stuff that we have done. 20 plus years been supporting the women's shelter in Brampton.
Wow, that's
Yeah,
incredible.
yeah.
Good work.
Yeah,
Proud of you guys.
thank you.
Saad, you're back. I'd like to ask you about how you work with past clients, how you keep in touch, and how important is that to your business?
So we try as much as we can. I know life gets us so busy and occupied, but I try to create activities over the year just to keep them in touch, keep them face to face. So I utilize this room by doing game nights. Every once in a while I invite different groups, and we bring pizza, we play cards or games. That's like one of the ways that keeps me in touch with them. What else? Like, there's always a reason to reach out. So like gift baskets and Christmas. So maintaining that gets me to always make them remember me whenever any of their like friends, colleagues, family members needs any real estate related services. Because I'm always, in mind, they remember me for that. So that's what keeps me doing it.
Right.
Because I want the circle of each client, not only the client.
So do you do something seasonally, or I know you do the summer?
The summer is every year, yes.
For sure. And what do you do in the shoulder seasons? And do you do something in the fall, something in the winter, something in the spring, or is it more different? Is it different than that?
So it's more like every 2 months. I try to
Oh, wow.
figure out something, activity like this. But this room have helped me a lot.
Oh, good. Are we charging them rent? So when you have an event here, how many people would there be?
10 to 12.
Okay.
Because I make them in groups.
Oh, I see.
Because they're different.
People who are similar kind
Yes.
of thing? Yeah,
Yeah.
that's great. These spaces, the space soon to be in Milton, the space in Georgetown, the space here, is open for that kind of stuff. The only thing we can't do is smoke cigars and drink whiskey, and gamble with real money. But other than that, you can have a great event here, and you can do it any day of the week. You can book the space, and so when do you normally do it? Like, is it a weekend?
It's always either on a Tuesday night or Wednesday night.
Okay,
It makes it easier for them to come.
great. So they're not interfering with family time
Yeah.
on the weekends.
Yes.
That's fantastic.
And the weekends are usually busy. So.
Yeah, true. Oliver, I don't need to ask you the question. You know what you want to say.
Can I relay two stories? One personal, one kind of business, okay? And it all relates to networking, okay? So remember that picture I showed you, that guy, right? Early 90s, I was going out with a Swedish nanny, right? And fell in love, and she was here on a work visa. She went back to Sweden, broke it off. I was heartbroken, right? So what I decided to do is go to my Polish roots, and I joined Polish dance group. And I also joined an Australian rules football league, and actually was on the Canadian All-Star team. We beat the Aussies at their own game. But anyway, while practicing for this dance, and we danced in front of large groups, like at chin picnics, in front of thousands of people. And we would train at the church in Roncesvalles, it's a Polish church, which is the Polish area. And when it came break time, I walk out across the street to Galaxy Donuts to go pick up coffee, right? I walk in there, and I see this beautiful woman working there, Polish woman, beautiful smile. In my broken Polish, I said, "Could I have a coffee, please?" Right? And she said, "Oh, so cute, yeah, I'll get you your coffee." And it was just, and I was compelled to give her my card and say, "Would you like to go out on a date?" I gave her my card. When she gave my coffee, I asked her for a date, and she just smiled and said, And I walked out of there, and I said, "You idiot, you idiot, you idiot. That's so embarrassing, oh my God, that's so stupid, so stupid." Well, guess what? The next day, the love of my life called me, 31 years later. That helped me. That's an example of networking in a different way, and I had no expectations. I wasn't intending. I just stepped out of my comfort zone. Okay, now let's talk real estate. So I've been in real estate about 22 years, okay? I don't know if you guys know, 2008 was a financial crash. You guys remember that? And it's apropos to what's happening now in the world a little bit, okay? It was depressing. It was scary. It was downright scary. I was on the verge of thinking about quitting real estate. You know, I was kind of at that stage. And something, again, inside me compelled to do this. Just turn off the TV, turn off the news. I took 100 Days to Greatness, Buffini, focused on the process. It's dead simple, like it's about connecting, meeting people, writing notes, making connections, things like that. Took about a year. I didn't listen to the news. I just focused on the process, struggled, and the next thing you know, that phone started to ring. Those emails started to come in. Hey, such and such, would like to, could you come in? I know this person. It's somebody who I knew of somebody. And a lot of times when you're building your networking, obviously one goal is clients, but another goal is advocates. What are advocates? These are people who speak about you when you're not in the room. They may not be clients, but my golly, they are extremely valuable. And just willing myself to go into that world helped me a lot.
And now he's gotten over it. He's not shy anymore. There was an opening of a competitor in the region, and Oliver went to go to the grand opening. He went in with that hat, and they asked him to take the hat off. And I don't know what happened at the end. I don't want to know, but it was pretty bold. So he's gone from the shy, awkward guy to the guy who's walking into a Remax opening with a Royal LePage hat on. It was pretty good. It was pretty cool. So you've come a long way. Krystle, I'm going to ask you one last question, and I'd like you to share what happens at the big Christmas party.
Oh, for our clients?
Uh-huh.
Oh, you've been to a few.
Yeah. So the reason I've been is because they like me, plus I live 3 doors down from Paula.
Yeah.
So, and that's Paula usually
So we
hosts
can't
us.
not invite
Yeah,
you.
no,
You see all the cars.
They're parking in my driveway.
They're parking in your driveway. It's typically a really big event. We have somewhere between 200 to 250 people in and out. Like it's a pop-in. So we say 2 to 6, come in. We have appetizers, we have drinks, wine, beer, we have a live band. We try to do something for the kids, whether or not it's like coloring or some sort of craft doing. We've done it at a couple different venues, but we typically have it at my mom's house. We have a valet type service because it gets a little bit hectic, and we have kids that will take their cars to the park at the church and drive them to the house. We've had a couple really crazy snowstorms and still had a great turnout. We ask clients to come. Sometimes they bring their neighbors or friends, and it's fun to watch your clients interact with one another, because sometimes you don't realize that so-and-so knows this one and you know that one, and it's like a big family all coming together, and just it's just we have a great time, and everybody raves about it. And it slowed down a little bit after COVID. We've done a couple different things, and we always find like everybody loves our Christmas events.
It's wonderful. Now, there's a hook to it though. Don't your clients bring something?
Yes, so we ask all our clients to bring either a toy for the kids at the women's shelter or bring a gift card. So we normally send out a list of items that they're looking for. Depending on the types of the ages of the kids, the list can vary from year to year. So we want to make sure that we actually have what is needed, and then we send it out to our clients. And we've had truckloads of toys and gift cards, and we drop it off at the shelter, and it's pretty incredible to see the support we get from our clients.
It's I would say one of the best events I've ever been to,
Yeah.
and the way people, you're right, the way they interact. A lot of people, I would guess by now, they get to know each other through your party.
They do,
which is pretty cool.
They become friends, they hang out, and it's just bringing people together, and you never know when somebody else needs somebody else in the room. It's all about networking.
Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
Saad, can you share some tips around networking? What are the best practices? Do you use social media? What are your tips that you would share with this group?
like the events that I'm at the event.
No, just overall, how you stay in touch, how you keep in touch with your past clients. I'm just going through my notes here. Your social media, online platforms, how do you set objectives? It's for people who are not doing it, it's not natural, so maybe you could help a little bit with the to-dos.
Well, I mean, social media is a big part nowadays in our lives. So I try to post as much as I can stuff that is not only real estate. I try to make all kind of things, new restaurants, new activities, and like to keep like it's always nice to have them engaged. So the more stuff that I do that gets attention, the more engagement I get. And there's a lot of videos now out there, a lot of social media interactions. So we try to stand out as much as we can.
Great, thank you. Oliver, I'm gonna let you close the conversation today, and we'll open it for if there's any questions as well.
Okay, so like two things. I'm going to mention to everybody here the benefits of joining your local board or association. I'm an example. So I made a decision to join my real estate board, become a director. Then in turn, I became president of OMDREB, of the Oakville Milton District Real Estate Board. And I did it with the right intentions. Was because it was actually out of frustration, quite frankly. When I got in there, I was very unhappy at how the MLS was being handled. We were in Oakville, and we had this system and that system, and you had to be members of multiple boards in order to access all the data. And I thought this was crazy. And I just said, okay, I want to be a part of the solution and do something about it. So I joined my board, and ultimately became president. And ultimately, this little tiny board in Oakville, Milton, which had about 1,500 members, one day in around 2018, before I became president in 2019, had a meeting in Ottawa at a CREA event. We invited the entire TREB board of directors for pizza in Ottawa. And it was a round table, nothing fancy. It was basically go there, get your own pizza, and we all sat. It was the best thing ever. And that resulted in an agreement with a data share with TREB, with our board, for the benefit of my members, right, that sort of thing. Didn't last because you're only president for a year and there's different administrations, and we all know what happens with different administrations. But guess what? The teacher, there's a saying, teacher comes when the student is ready. Well, the students weren't ready at that time. I'm talking us realtors. But it's happening now, where it's getting more now, becoming a one MLS, and it seems like prop text is the way where it's kind of going. I did want to leave off with a couple takeaways here, things, and I've kind of listed it here, so I just wanted to point out, when you're talking about networking, these are the things that kind of go through my mind. First of all, you must approach it with a total authenticity. You got to be yourself. Nobody wants to deal with somebody fake. You got to be yourself, okay? And many times you're not even talking about real estate at all. What you're talking about, you're interested in the other person. You're not being interesting, you're being interested. You got to approach it with zero expectations. Like just try to be that person who tries to ask questions. It's about building genuine relationships, not just gaining contacts, okay? It means finding common ground, common interests. It's about follow-up, Best thing to do about follow-up is meet face-to-face. If not, call. If not, a written note of some sort. If not, email, text, but something. But it's got to make it personal. Always offer value first. Focus on what you can give rather than what you can get. Share your expertise. Make introductions with other people that you know, with people that you know. Be a community resource in your area. Consistency. You want to stay top of mind. Social media is excellent for that sort of stuff. You do check-ins with your clients, client events like Saad was talking about. You want to leverage partnerships, connect with the industry, join chambers, associations, maybe speak, maybe write some content, out there. It's about mastering the art of follow-up, dedicating your life, providing unexpected value. That's kind of really what it's all about. And I'm going to just demonstrate networking right here. Instead of just talking about it, Steve,
Oh,
how are you?
good.
How do we meet?
Buzz conference 3 weeks ago.
We met at the Buzz conference 3 weeks ago. Sorry, it may not catch on the video.
Yeah, and I've been following you actually on social media for probably upwards of about a year. Hadn't crossed paths, hadn't had the opportunity. Social media I think is great, but I think it also gives you a false sense of knowing someone. So I always take the opportunity, if I do see them in person, either jump in front of them or make a point of introducing myself, which I did. I think you were on your way out. And kind of, hey, Albert, been following you for a while. Shook hands, and exactly what you just said is what you did. You made a point of getting together. You've added value, bringing me to this room, and introducing me to a few people. So you certainly practice what you preach. I appreciate it.
So Steve is not with Meditown. He's with a different brokerage. And we are just connecting and networking. And we met a month and a half ago at the Buzz conference, or a month ago. And he literally just saw me, and that's when we first met. That's how it goes. That's networking right there.
Thank you. Are there any questions and any thoughts that anyone wants to share?
I would.
Please.
So, as Krystle spoke about my Christmas party, our Christmas party, I started with 20 people. So you don't have to do 100, 200. You can start with 20 people. It grew from that because people heard about it, how nice it was, and then it just grew because then you didn't want to leave anybody out. And then it became about the shelter. So what I wanted to say is nothing has to be big. It's just about personal connections. And they'll tell their friends about how great a time it was. And their friends want to be included. So that's how it continues. That's all.
That's great. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else who wants to?
Jason.
Jason.
Yeah. So, sorry, I'll leave this one for Saad and Krystle. So when you meet somebody new, whether it's at a conference or MBOT or a game night, and it's a new contact and you're adding them to your database or whatever, what does your first contact after that look like in terms of when is it, how do you reach out to them, and then how often do you keep in touch with them?
I typically reach out to them the next day and just say, hey, it was normally by text. Hey, it was great to meet you. Just touch base on a little bit about what we talked about the previous night or day. Depending on where they're located, because I travel and I go to conferences and I meet agents literally from coast to coast. Sometimes you can't meet up with them for a coffee, but if they are local, I will arrange to meet for coffee or lunch, and I network that way. I like a lot of one-on-one networking. I met with somebody yesterday. I try to do 1 or 2 lunches with industry people or past clients at least twice a week, just to stay relevant and stay top of mind. But I did want to say something else about the networking aspect of all of this. Like, I go to conferences, you deal with professionals. Every single person here is going to have different interests and do different things. So find what you are passionate about and create a little community around it. If it's going to the gym, find other people who like to go to the gym and create a little networking group on your own. Like, find what works best for you and start small. Start with 5 people, grow it a little bit as you go. It doesn't have to be realtors, it doesn't have to be professionals, it can be your friends. Like, just start small and let it grow naturally that way. Yeah.
Are there any others? If something that I would dovetail onto that is if you do something passionately, if you're a golfer, if you're a paddleboard person, you invite people to come and try out what you do. And that's an easy way to start building your network, and it works very well. Thank you very much. I know that they seem so relaxed, but sitting in front of all of you and being able to share their ideas, they put a lot of work into this. So I wanted to thank you all for doing this. It's wonderful. Thank you. And now we'll sit around and network for a bit.